Last week, the chairman of Samsung flew to India. So did the chairman of Hyundai POSCO and HD Hyundai. 600 business leaders, all in the same place at the same time. Now, this kind of thing happens all the time, right? Diplomatic visits, photo ops, handshakes, big numbers announced. Everyone goes home. Nothing changes. But this one is different. And I want to explain exactly why, because buried inside these 25 agreements is something that tells you a lot about where money is going to flow in India over the next decade. And most of the coverage completely missed it. So the official narrative is India and Korea are great friends. Bilateral trade target double to $50 billion by 2030. Everyone is excited. Modi said chips to ships, very catchy, very good. But here's the thing I want you to think about. Korea has been talking to India about big investments for years. POSCO, Korea's biggest steel company, actually tried to build a plant in India 4 times. 4 times. 2005, 2010, 2 more attempts after that. They failed every single time. Land acquisition problems, regulatory nightmares, they literally walked away and abandoned their Odisha project in 2017 after a decade of trying. And now they're back. Same state, Odisha, same ambition. 6 million tons of steel, $7.29 billion. And this time it's actually happening. So the question I want you to sit with is, did India suddenly become easy to do business in, or did something else change? I'd argue it's mostly the second one. The world got scared. That's the honest answer. The US-China trade war made every major manufacturer realize they couldn't have all their eggs in one supply chain. Then Russia invaded Ukraine and showed everyone what happens when a country you depend on becomes a problem overnight. Then tensions around Taiwan started getting real. Then Iran. Korean companies looked at this and said, we need a plan B. Not because India is perfect, but because the alternative to India is starting to look terrifying. That's the real reason 600 business leaders flew here last week. Let me walk you through what actually got signed, because the specifics matter. Deal 1. POSCO and JSW Steel 50-50 joint venture, $7.29 billion, 6 million tons of steel per year. Odisha. This is a full integrated plant from iron making to finished steel products. JSW Steel is the Indian partner. Construction starts this year, completes by 2031. Deal 2. HD Hyundai, world's largest shipbuilder, is building India's first ever foreign-owned shipyard. $4 billion. Thoothukudi, Tamil Nadu. 3,000 acres. And I want to tell you something about why they picked Thoothukudi specifically. Because this is not a random choice. HD Hyundai's technical team was on the ground in Tamil Nadu since late 2025. They studied salinity levels, typhoon risk, water depth for large vessels, available land. Sri Lanka acts as a natural geographic shield. The climate actually mirrors Ulsan, that's Korea's own shipbuilding capital. This was months of due diligence before a single rupee was committed. And here's something almost no one covered. HD Hyundai already has an existing joint venture with Cochin Shipyard. This new investment deepens a relationship that was already there. Deal 3. Hyosun Heavy Industries and Adani Infra signed an MOU on HVDC technology, that's high voltage direct current. Basically the infrastructure that lets India move renewable energy across long distances efficiently. This one is quieter, but it's a 10-year play. Deal 4. Hyundai Motor and TVS Motor. Joint development of an electric 3-wheeler for the Indian market. Auto rickshaw electrification. 1.5 million 3-wheelers sold every year in India. You do the math. Deal 5. The India-Korea Digital Bridge. AI, semiconductors, IT supply chains. Samsung's chairman personally flew in for this. India was named the first global hub for Korea's startup network. UPI payments to work directly in Korea. This one is more diffuse, but it signals where the next decade of cooperation is heading. Now I want to connect something for you, because I think it makes all 5 of these deals make much more sense together. HD Hyundai literally said this out loud. They're expanding in India and Vietnam specifically to counter China's low-price shipbuilding offensive. China has been building ships at a scale and price that Korean and Japanese shipbuilders simply cannot match at home. So they're building capacity elsewhere. POSCO chose India for their steel JV instead of doubling down in China-adjacent supply chains. Because if things go wrong in that part of the world, you want your plant somewhere else. The digital bridge, the semiconductor and AI cooperation piece, that's explicitly about not being dependent on a supply chain that runs through a single geography. Every single deal in this summit, if you look at it carefully, has a China de-risking rationale underneath it. India didn't have to win on merit alone. India is benefiting from a world that is actively trying to reduce its dependence on a single manufacturing hub. So here's how I think about events like this, and you can use this framework every time there's a big geopolitical deal or a state visit with lots of announcements. First question, is this a genuine commitment or a photo op? The signal is specificity. A genuine commitment has a number, a named partner, a location, and a timeline. We will invest in India's future is a photo op. 7.29 billion US dollars, JSW Steel, Odisha, 50-50 JV, closing by December 2026 is a commitment. Filter everything through that test. Second question, who is the Indian counterparty? Diplomatic deals create value for specific companies, not for the whole market. You want to trace each deal to the listed Indian entity that actually captures the benefit. Third question, what's the timeline? Steel plants take years, shipyards take years. A deal signed today might start showing up in earnings in 2028 or 2029. That changes how you think about whether this is a near-term catalyst or a long-term thesis. Fourth question, and this is the one most people skip, is this deal additive to something that already exists, or is it starting from zero? Okay, so applying that framework to what we just covered, let me walk you through the Indian stocks and sectors that are directly connected to these specific deals. I want to be clear, I'm not telling you to buy anything. I'm telling you which companies are now sitting inside a major structural story. You do your own due diligence. The most direct connection, JSW Steel. They are the 50% partner in the POSCO joint venture. This isn't a supply agreement or a letter of intent. They are co-owners of a $7 billion plant. The question for JSW Steel is the timeline. Construction completes in 2031, so earnings impact is 5-6 years out. This is a thesis, not a trade. Second, Cochin Shipyard. Two things working here. One, Hyundai's existing JV with Cochin Shipyard for ship block production is now part of a much larger narrative. Two, India's defense shipbuilding push is a separate tailwind entirely. Cochin Shipyard is at the intersection of both. Worth watching how management communicates this in their next earnings call. Third, Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders. Not directly named in the Korea deals, but the Thoothukudi shipyard development raises the profile of India as a shipbuilding destination across the board. Mazagon is India's other major defense shipbuilder and benefits from the same macro story. Fourth sector, power infrastructure. The Hyosung Adani HVDC deal is a small signal in a much bigger trend. India's renewable energy build-out requires massive grid modernization. Companies in the power transmission and grid equipment space, not just Adani, are sitting in a 1-0 YEAR structural tailwind. Fifth, TVS Motor for the EV three-wheeler development. This one is earliest stage joint development, means the product doesn't exist yet. But it gives TVS a Korean technology partner in a segment that's about to get very competitive. So here's the thing I keep coming back to. POSCO tried 4 times over 20 years. They failed every time. And now they're back and it's actually happening. What changed isn't just India's policies, though those matter. What changed is the rest of the world got complicated enough that difficult but stable started looking a lot better than easy but risky. That's a structural shift. And structural shifts in where global money goes, that's the most important thing to understand as an investor. In the next video, I want to look at the other side of this, the sectors in India that this shift does not help and might actually hurt, because not every company wins from the same macro story. If this was useful, you know what to do. And drop a comment. I want to know which of these deals you think is the most interesting one and why.